This is what a Canadian study permit looks like. It's the most refused student visa application in the world, with over 40% of refusals. However, over the years, I've identified principles that have helped thousands of people get approved. This video is your exact tutorial for how you can apply for a study permit successfully on your own. And if you do need legal help, stick around until the very end for an announcement that the world of immigration has not seen before. This video has 3 parts: the IRCC portal tutorial, the statements of purpose tutorial, and the special announcement. It took me weeks to prepare this video. Please give it a like and let's go. When applying for a study permit, you have 2 options: GCKey or IRCC portal. For most people, the IRCC portal eliminates possible mistakes, as the system was programmed to give you an error message if something is missing. But you will use the GCKey portal in the future, as you will apply for PGWP and permanent residency. Welcome to the IRCC portal tutorial. It's very important to realize that everything you say in this application that you file through this portal will be used against you when you apply for permanent residency, or it can be used for you. What do I mean? Many people come to us, to my law firm, after having worked with some fraudulent agents in their home countries. And what happens is agents file some false information. The client gets their study permit there in Canada. Now they're applying for PR, but all of a sudden their permanent residency application gets refused. Why, you ask? Because the information is not consistent with what they mentioned in their study permit application originally when they filed that first application. This is why it's my mission to help you file an accurate study permit application, and we'll do it step by step together. So once you've logged into your My IRCC portal, you can scroll down and see that you can apply for a study permit. This is exactly what we'll be doing. So the way this tutorial will go is I will first fill out a page from 0 to complete. Then I will pause and only speak about the important sections. Something that's obvious, like your date of birth, I'm not going to touch it. But other factors like financial and home ties, I will pause and give you more explanation so that you can file an accurate, successful study permit application. To begin, this is quite easy. Do you want to apply for more than one person at the same time? You would say yes if you're applying with family members. However, make sure that you understand home ties and what that means. I have a bunch of videos about it. But basically, the more people you apply with, the lower your chances. If you apply with your spouse, whoever that is, your kids, it means you might be not coming back home. And this is a non-immigrant application. Remember, study permit is a non-immigrant application. Why is there a 40% refusal rate? Because people fail to convey that they're planning to return home. So I'm going to say no for this one. You want to select a study permit that's valid for more than 6 months if you are studying in a college or university and you're taking a 1-year, 2-year diploma, or you're doing a bachelor's degree, master's degree. In this field, tell us more about what you'll do in Canada. It's important to convey that you've already been accepted. So you're doing this application with your letter of acceptance. Just to give you an example, I said that I'm going to study at Toronto Metropolitan University. I gave them the dates and I told them what program I was admitted to. Now let's talk about the dates. When will you enter Canada? Now that you have your letter of acceptance, you need to enter the exact information you have there for when the program begins. This is just approximate. So when you get your student visa, this application allows you to receive your student visa, the document that helps you enter inside the country, and then study permit is given to you at the airport, but it's one application. So once you've received your student visa, you can travel to Canada right away. The only thing you need to remember is you cannot work in Canada before your program begins. So you can enter, you can settle down and stuff. That's why this is just an approximate. But you want to enter the dates for your study program, when it begins and when it ends. This page is amazing, gives you an overview of what information they will require, what documents they will need. The one that takes most time, at least from experience of working with people for years, is this one, the proof of funds, which is usually your bank statements. You need at least 4 months of bank statements before you apply for a study permit. This is just basic information like your first name, last name, your date of birth, gender. When it comes to the date of issue of your passport, make sure it's valid for your entire study program. That would be ideal, because then you would need to apply for a new passport if it's not. In most countries, even though they say you cannot apply for a new passport if yours hasn't expired yet, you most likely can. You would just need to pay extra. Now, these questions are pretty basic about the US, visitor visa to Canada. Be truthful, honestly answer what they're asking. And this one is, are you traveling by air? For most people, it will be yes. Country or territory where you were born. Again, let's keep our story straight. Say China. This is way easier. Are you a citizen of more than one country or territory? I'm going to say no. But if you are, please say yes. So just for this story, we're saying it's China. You need to pay attention to what I'm about to say. If you apply from a country where you do not have permanent residency or citizenship, you run a high risk of refusal, because it's unlikely you will go back there, as you don't have anything tying you, legally speaking. You will lose status when you leave that country. And that's what any visa officer will be concerned about. So here I said China, Shanghai, the country of birth, citizenship, and the country where I'm applying from. But this question, list your current country or territory of residence, then add all other countries or territories where you've lived for the past 5 years for more than 6 months. It's pretty self-explanatory. If you've lived anywhere for more than 6 months, you're going to add those countries to this list. What I'm doing now is simply adding my current country and mentioning my legal status, which is citizen. Hopefully you have the same or at least permanent resident. Approval rates from United Arab Emirates, and those who are not residents or permanent residents or citizens of that country usually get refused. And I'm talking 90% of applications, which is pretty crazy. So sometimes you need to make a trip back home, apply from there. Even though this is filed digitally, when you apply for PR and they see you lied and you didn't really go back home to apply, this will be a problem. Now about biometrics, you will need to submit them, so I just said no. The application section is quite straightforward. There's nothing special. This one, most likely none of them will apply to you. However, you might say yes to some. Level of study, then you enter your DLI number. You can research that fairly fast. Then you find your school's address, and then just copy paste everything from your letter of acceptance. Save and continue. Now, tuition fee in Canadian dollars. This is meant to provide an overview to a visa officer of how much money you will need in total. So this is the entire tuition fee. Let's say a 2-year program, $20,000 each year. That's $40,000 for tuition. Room and board, usually it's $10,000 a year. So for 2 years, it's going to be $20,000. Funds available. This is very simple. It's a calculation they're doing on the same page. So they make it extremely obvious. And yet so many people fail and get refused, financially speaking. So you want to add up these two numbers. That's it. You need to have at least 60,000 in your bank account with your bank statements to back it up. Who will pay you for your expenses? That's going to be myself, just to make it easier, or parents. You might be getting sponsored by your employer or school. There is more explanation that's needed. If it's the letter or if it's your parents sponsoring you, make sure that you have an affidavit of financial support. Do you want to apply for a work permit or participate in a co-op program? If you have a co-op program, yes. If no, no. Let's just make it simpler. If you say yes, at the airport, make sure that you get both your study permit and your work permit at the airport, because this application is just for your student visa, the sticker in passport that gives you entry inside Canada. Do you have a guaranteed investment certificate, GIC? You don't really need to have GICs, but it doesn't hurt. So you can put the money for living in a GIC, let's say 20,000, and tuition can be in your bank account, your home bank account. Now, post-secondary education history. This is an interesting one. Let's see what we get. So have you ever studied at a post-secondary school or completed a degree diploma. I'm going to say no just to make it simpler, but for some people, you'll have to say yes. Military, I'm going to say no service in the military. And here you will need to add your work experience, employment in the last 10 years. So I'm going to give you an example for two different types of applicants. Those of you who are younger, who have never had a job, and those who are mature students and now you're pursuing perhaps your second or third post-secondary education, you've been employed in the past, so now you want to answer this section. Let's start with the first group. Okay, so high school graduates, if you've never been employed formally, I'm speaking formally employed, you just want to give them this status, unemployed. If you scroll down, it's at the very bottom of the list. Make sure that your from and to is for the last 10 years or from when you turned 18. So let's say you turned 18 in 2021, you would select 2021, the month, and then you would say to the month of when you are applying. So let's say I'm applying in 2023 in October. If you miss even 1 month, the application will not move forward. So it's going to give you an error. That's why you want to give them the date of when you are actually submitting the application. However, if you are not a high school graduate and if you have worked in the past, perhaps you're in your 30s or 40s, this is how you're going to do this. To make it simple, first of all, let's say that I've worked continuously for the last 10 years for one company, but most likely you have multiple experiences with different organizations, so count for that. Now, let's say that I've worked for one company from 2013 up until when I filed the application, let's say the month of October 2023. And now I want to select which area. So just to give you an example, trades, and then the job title was electrical and mechanical engineer. Let's say my company was this. And here I just want to list out my duties, which I will find in my job offer from this employer. The address, again, very simple. And then I want to save. Now it's going to let me move forward in this application. During the last 5 years, have you traveled to a country or territory other than the one where you're a citizen or where you live now? So this is your travel history. You will fill this out without any gaps for 5 years. I'm going to say no, just to make it simpler, but you will probably say yes. Have you ever stayed in Canada beyond the validity of your status? Hopefully you say no to this, but again, be truthful. They will see it. They can also see your US applications as they share the database with the states. Have you ever been refused a visa or permit? I'm going to say no, but in some cases, this is a reapplication for you, which I do not recommend doing on your own. Have you ever committed any crime? No. Arrested? No. Charged for criminal offense? Convicted for criminal offense? Hopefully you said no to all that. Now, criminality, again, I'm going to say no and no. This is your medical exam. In the last 12 months, I'm going to say no. You will most likely be doing this for the first time, so you will not have had your medical yet. In the last 2 years, were you diagnosed with tuberculosis? Hopefully no. And then hopefully no to contact with tuberculosis. Now, are you currently receiving dialysis treatment? No, I'm going to say no. These are medical questions. If you have any medical conditions, it's important. As long as they're not infectious, if you cannot pass them on to other people, you should be fine with medical insurance. So even HIV or even very big negative things, they can be accepted by Canadian visa officers if you provide that you will be looking after yourself, financially speaking. Save and continue. Family members, I'm just going to say single to make it easier, but most likely you will say married or divorced. You will list out your spouse. All right. Now, biological adopted stepchildren. I'm going to say no. I understand that I'm not declaring any natural adopted or stepchildren. Now, this is about your parents. So you will need to add both of them, your mom and dad. It's fairly simple, so I'm not going to stop here and spend too much time on this section. This is the section about languages. It's very self-explanatory as well. Save and continue. Now it's your email address. Very easy as well. Now we have come to the most interesting part, uploading your documents. These are 4 mandatory documents: your transcripts, letter of acceptance, passport, funds, your proof of funds, which is extremely important. Again, 4 months of bank statements, perhaps a GIC if you can. Optional documents. Now listen up. Most applicants get refused because the statement of purpose or letter of explanation they submit under here, additional documents, is not strong enough. It doesn't convey their desire to only study and then go back home. I'm talking about 90% of refusals, especially from Southeast Asia, from countries like India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, from China, from Africa. African refusal is now at about 65%, which is insane. More than half get refused. This is why we've prepared something innovative and special. Not many people realize, but in most developing countries, the study permit refusal happens because of a weak letter of explanation, or SOP. After working with consultants and then lawyers, I realized we can solve the problem for thousands of people by developing the first ever AI-powered LOE builder that's trained on what works best for individuals. Not many people realize, but most student visas are refused because of a weak statement of purpose or letter of explanation or study plan, whatever you want to call it. This is why we decided to step in, accumulate all of our knowledge collected over the last couple of years, and make the first ever AI tool to help build you a strong, convincing SOP or LOE. This is how it works. There's only 3 steps. First, you need to get it. Second, you fill out a custom form. So it's going to be custom for each and every one of you. Third, you get a tailored SOP sent directly to your inbox. This process takes less than a few minutes. Let me demonstrate. So let's pretend you've already got it. Now you'll start answering personalized questions. It's very straightforward, as you can tell, and it's going to take you only a few minutes. So your email address, your name, then it's going to ask you your home country. Now it's your previous education. Again, be as detailed as possible. And the best thing is that with these tips, it's going to lead you along the way so that you don't miss anything or you don't lose the right answer. Where will you study? Don't abbreviate. Try to be as thorough in this application as possible. So provide full answers. What's the name of your study program? So let's say that I'll study Masters of Business Administration. What's your professional background? Here you want to lay out your work experience and be as thorough as possible, as detailed as you can. What's your travel history? Again, your travel history. Then, very straightforward, family members. As you might know, the more family members you leave home, the higher your approval chances. And then you can reunite with them once you get approved and move to Canada on your student visa. So here I said I have a wife and a 5-year-old son. Now, have you ever overstayed your visa or been refused a visa? Be truthful, be honest. If you have, say yes and explain it. And now, if you have not, just simply skip, say, okay, how much money do you have in your bank account to support your education? Again, just provide the exact number that you can back up with your bank statements. What's your current salary, business income? So I said I make $3,000 per month. This is an example for how you can do either annual, $36,000 a year, or $3,000 per month if you do monthly. If you were to get promoted, what role? Again, this tip is great because it explains exactly what to do for business owners, for employed people, and we're almost done. Now, in this higher role, how much money will you make? I could make $7,000 per month, let's say, and you can look up the average promotion, how much it would give you. Why is your home country not the best option? I said that China's too competitive. Without foreign education, it's unlikely to be promoted. Okay, and this is the last one. Are you involved with any organizations like churches? Maybe you volunteer somewhere just to show some home ties. I said I volunteer at my local art gallery, and now you just need to accept our terms, submit, and that's it. You'll be getting a custom, tailored to you, to your case, SOP to your inbox. So let's check our email inbox. Wow, that was super fast. Less than a minute, and you have a tailored, custom SOP made specifically for your case. And look at this. It covers your educational background. There's reasons to study in Canada and future career potential. Educational limitations in home country. Return on investment. Ties to home country. Financial plan. And closing statement. This is more than enough. And we really wanted to make sure that it's an overkill so that your chances to get a student visa are as high as possible. You can click the link in the description of the video to get it, or click around on the website if you are browsing through the website. To be successful with the study permit application, when it comes to those supporting documents, on top of your statement of purpose or letter of explanation, everything has to be backed up by supporting documents. And in this folder, I've put together the most helpful supporting documents you can get in the order that's most applicable to 99% of applicants. So first of all, of course, we have the certificate of marriage. If you're married, leave your partner behind just for the first application. Once you're in Canada, you can reunite. Next, real estate deed. If you have real estate, very helpful. Job offer. If your employer or someone you know can offer you a job when you come back from Canada, this will tremendously strengthen your application. Travel history, again, you want to put your visas in here, everywhere you've traveled to. Preferably it's Europe or North America where it's difficult to get to. Then volunteer a letter. So if you volunteer at religious organizations, churches, temples, even art galleries, we've had people like that. Approach the leader of that company or organization and ask them for a volunteer reference letter just to state that you are a valuable member of their community and you will be missed and they look forward to having you back. Now, doctor's notice, this is if your parents, you have elderly parents, or I hope not, but your children who you're leaving in your home country have a chronic disease, you attach the doctor's notice to prove that there's an anchor holding you back home, that you need to go back to your home country to look after your parents. And now I'm thrilled to announce that we will be the first immigration firm in Canada to offer a full money-back guarantee. If my immigration lawyers apply for your study permit and it gets refused, you will get all of your money back. So there is no financial risk for you. If you want to learn more, the links will be in the description to this video. And now watch my lead lawyer explain what you get exactly in this service. What's included within our study permit application package?
We always start with a consultation call where I will speak directly with you and gather the information I need so that we can build your custom roadmap. Once we have that, we then will invite you to software that we like to use, which essentially streamlines the application preparation process. As part of this process, we are going to provide you with a customized required documents list to maximize your chances of success.
That's one of the reasons I find why people get refused. They don't tailor their applications to the specific needs of their case.
Right, absolutely, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of information online. IRCC provides you with a very clear list of required documents, but sometimes you have to read between the lines, and there might be certain documents that would be helpful in your case, which might not necessarily be helpful in other cases, but that's what we're here for. We're going to make sure that you provide the documents that are going to help us prepare the best possible application and submit it to IRCC on your behalf. So once we have all of your documents in place, the next step is we're going to use an intake form, which is on the portal that I mentioned earlier, and that's going to help us prepare your application forms. I am there every step of the way. I am looking through all of the answers that you're providing, all of the documents that you're uploading, and I'm answering any questions you have along the way and providing my comments and suggestions as well to make sure that everything is as clean and as concise, and also making sure that everything is there, that we don't miss anything. So the next step is we are going to work together to draft your personalized study plan. And this plan is going to be written by you, and it's going to be directed towards the agent who is reviewing your application. It's your chance to speak to the agent, and I'm going to help you do that and make sure that we get your point across. And once we have all of that, I'm then going to take my turn to speak to the agent, and I'm going to write my cover letter to IRCC, summarizing all of the information that we're providing, but also highlighting the key points that I want the agent to focus on when they're reviewing your application.
It's extremely important because it's a Canadian lawyer talking to a Canadian visa officer in their cover letter to convey your specific case.
Right, and so once we have all of that together, I'm then going to give you the opportunity to review everything. I believe in 100% transparency. I want you to see exactly what we're submitting to IRCC and allow you the opportunity to review it as well. So I will provide you with your package, and once You're happy, I'm happy, we're going to submit it to IRCC. Once your application is submitted to IRCC on your behalf, it's going to be submitted on my authorized representative portal. I am there to answer any questions you have. If you want screenshots of your profile, if you want to see how your application is moving along, I'm always there to answer your questions and provide you with any updates or communications that I receive from IRCC with respect to your application.
So it would take you from 0 to study permit.
Exactly.
Wonderful.